little babies over there. Thank you very much, and let me just thank you for giving up your time this morning to spend time with myself, with Rachel, the Chancellor, and with Ed, who's the Energy Secretary. So it's really good of you to give up your time. And we're going to come around in a minute and sit with each of you on the tables. So I'm really looking forward to getting your views on the budget and many other things. Before I do that, I just wanted to say a few words about the budget, which Rachel delivered yesterday, and set out the principles, what we're trying to achieve. And I can see I've already got some support here. This is good to see. But the first and most important fundamental principle was fairness. Yeah. This was a Labour budget with Labour values, and that means it had to be a fair budget. And then we had three pillars, really, to the budget that I'll just spell out to you. The first is that we must protect investment, particularly in our NHS. You know the state of the NHS under the last government. It was left, I always say it was left on its knees, but my wife, who works in the NHS, says no, Keir, it was left on its face. And it fell to us to put the money back into the NHS, to put it back up and make it fit for the future. So it's there for everybody and their families when they need it. So that was principle number one. Principle number two was we have to get the national debt down. It's far too high. And by getting it down, that impacts everybody across the country because it allows interest rates to come down. And once interest rates come down, that then gets affected in mortgages. And people will, this is one of the biggest monthly payments that many people make to get their mortgages down. And then the third big principle, which you'll have seen, I hope, is that we absolutely had to bear down and deal with the cost of living pressures that people are facing. And thinking particularly about people who are struggling to make ends meet. Who are sitting around the kitchen table wondering and worrying about what bills they can or can't afford. Now, that is a political issue for me. It's a personal issue for me, because when I was growing up, we didn't have enough money in my household. And we had to literally sit round the kitchen table and decide which bills we wouldn't be able to pay. In our particular case, the phone was cut off and things like that because we couldn't actually make ends meet. So I know personally what it feels like to go through that anguish. So we were determined to bear down. We had already taken some measures before yesterday, which I'm really proud about. The first was free breakfast clubs at our primary schools. Hugely important because everybody knows that children arriving at school who are hungry, perhaps haven't had breakfast, are not going to learn very well. And parents and carers able to drop off their children a little bit early means they can get back to work if that's what they want to do and earn a bit more money. Really important. The second one is free school meals, extended to 500,000 children. Again, for many children, I was in a school just the other day, that is the best and sometimes the only meal that they are going to get. And we were in Peterborough earlier this week, and I was talking to the dinner supervisors who've been dishing up food for kids for many, many years, and they knew they were dishing up not just food, a decent meal for children, but also a life chance, an opportunity, because hungry children don't learn. Children who don't learn get held back, and it's really hard to make up that ground. There are other things that we've done, but those are the things before yesterday. Yesterday, what Rachel, the Chancellor, was able to announce were measures on top of that. The three of them I just want to highlight to you. The first is freezing rail fares. Now, this is the first time this has been done for 30 years. And if you talk to anybody who regularly uses the railway, perhaps to commute, it is one of the biggest expenses of the week. So to be able to freeze that makes a massive difference. Prescription charges as well. We have capped or continued to cap so that they don't go up. It's really important when people need to get their prescription. And then the one that I wanted to talk to you most about this morning is energy bills, because I think everybody knows that in recent years energy bills have been far too high, and it's one of those things that for every household people worry about. And at this time of year, as we're going into the winter, there are those conversations that I know go on in some households, which is, can we afford to put the heating on? Can we perhaps turn it down to too low? Or even cooking and saying, can we afford the energy that it takes for cooking? People shouldn't have to make those decisions. And this is what I mean about fairness and the cost of living. And that's why yesterday we took the decision to take an average £150 off all energy bills across the board for all households. So £150 off the bills for everyone across the board. But also that's on top of a scheme that Ed had put in place last year, which we're extending this year, which is for the 6 million poorest households. Already we'd taken £150 off their bills. So a huge press down on energy bills and on the cost of living, because I know that across the country, if you ask people what's the thing that you worry about most, what's the thing uppermost in your mind, almost everybody will say it's the cost of living, it's making ends meet, and anything you can do to help me with that, the better. And therefore what we did yesterday was pull every lever that we had available to bear down on the cost of living. We did one other big thing yesterday, which is really important to all three of us and to the whole of the government, and that is we lifted 500,000 children out of poverty. This is... For nearly a decade, there was a 2-child cap on benefits. The only effect of that was to drive hundreds of thousands of children into poverty. And I don't know about you, but I am deeply uncomfortable about children paying the price and children being in poverty in the United Kingdom. I'm not prepared to let that happen under a Labour government. So we're lifting those children out of poverty. Let yesterday be the day that we did that, as it was. That is so good for those children. It lifts them out of poverty. It gives them a life chance. It is really good for our economy as well. Because if you've got children in poverty who can't go as far as their talents will take them through no fault of their own, then the economy doesn't thrive, because we need everybody contributing to our economy. That will only happen if you give everybody a fair chance and an opportunity to go as far as their talents will take them. So really good for the economy. And the third thing that it affects, Rachel and I were in a hospital yesterday afternoon talking to NHS staff, and when we told them about what we're doing on child poverty, they said really good. And they said really good, because for the children coming into our hospital, the root cause of many of the things they're presenting with is poverty. And therefore, if you get poverty down, you alleviate the pressure on the NHS. And that means that the NHS can concentrate on the other things that it needs to do. So on all those fronts, I'm really proud to lead a Labour government that has taken the biggest measure on child poverty that any government has ever taken in the history of this country. And that was a very big moment for us and the country yesterday. So they're the broad principles behind the budget. There's a lot more to it than that. But obviously what I want to do now is to sit down with you, get your views on what we've done. It's your chance to tell us whether you agree with this bit or that bit, other things you think we should do. Because I'm acutely aware that when I stood outside Downing Street the day after the election last year, I said we'd be a government of service. And that means that we're serving all of our communities, and that means we're serving you. So this isn't a kind invitation for you to sit with me, Rachel and Ed. It's your right to sit with me, Rachel and Ed. It's not a kind invitation for you to tell me what you think. It's your right to tell me what you think. Because when we say we're a government of service, we're serving you, and you have a right to tell us what you think, to push us if you think we should go further, to challenge us if you think we've done the wrong thing, or to tell us what you want to support in what we're doing. So let's have that discussion. I see we've got some really nice biscuits, some coffee, some children, some smiles. But this is the bit of the job I like most, by the way, which is out of Parliament, in our communities, with people like you, because I always take away from these sessions. I will remember what you say. I'll mull it over in my mind. Almost all of the ideas and thoughts and policies that I've been pushing forward have come out of conversations with people across the country. I take away what people say and mull it over on the train or whatever we're doing. And then who knows, the next time I'm announcing policy, it might be one of the ones that you've mentioned around this table. And you can say, I told him about that. So thanks very much. Let's get on with that. Really appreciate it. Thank you.